Hey everybody, just wanted to do a quick interview from the beautiful Dominican Republic. I'm in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic right now. And today's interview, ironically, is with Becky, who actually owns property in the Dominican Republic. We talk about this amongst a whole host of other stuff. So enjoy the interview. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to the beach. Welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to choke slam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler, and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we have Becky with us. Hey, how's it going, Becky?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Good. For those that don't know, Becky's living in an actual war zone now, AKA New York.
Yes.
Hope you're staying safe. So thanks for coming along today and being part of this interview. I really appreciate you giving up your time and sharing all the information that you're doing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and kind of what you're up to right now?
Sure. Like you said, I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a cancer researcher by day and a real estate investor by night. So I've been working in that field for about 15 years. I then moved abroad. I quit cancer research. And when I moved abroad, I used to own a tour company in Spain, and I owned a bar in Portugal. I moved back to the States about 5 years ago, went back to cancer research, and I fell into real estate really accidentally in 2018. And over the past 2 years, I've bought 10 properties throughout the New York kind of area, which tends to be competitive, high cost of living area. And also I own in the Dominican Republic.
Wow, okay, that's quite the background. Maybe tell us a little bit about how you found real estate, because for a lot of people, it's an interesting story, right? How most people find real estate.
Yeah, I feel that there's so many people out there that just become like accidental landlords and then just get addicted to it. That was definitely what happened with me. So as I said, I'd lived in a lot of different places. I'd always moved around, but I loved it. I never planned on owning real estate. I never planned on having a home. That to me was not important. My husband, though, is an immigrant to the United States. He's from the Dominican Republic, and he came here with this American dream that it's so important to own his own home. So he would not shut up about it. So I was like, you know what? Fine. Like, if it'll get you to stop telling me about buying a house, we will do it. So I decided, though, that if we were going to buy a house, we were going to do it in a way where we can actually make some money off of it. So I had this fantastic idea that we should buy a duplex where we can live in one side and rent out the other and make money back towards our mortgage. So we went and bought that place in 2018. And when we closed, I just absolutely fell in love with real estate. And I just realized how much money you can really make with this. So I started learning about real estate investing. And that was when I realized that my idea was not so very original. Thousands of people that were already doing what's called house hacking. And we just kind of grew from there and just have really taken off over the past 2 years.
It's crazy, right? It's almost a very similar thing to me, but I bought my primary residence in 2014. It was going to be an investment, right? Any house you buy is an investment. Doesn't matter what you pay for it. But that's what I thought. That's what was my understanding at the time. And then I had to then rent that house. And it was the same thing as you. I became an accidental landlord, and I realized. But then I started researching, and just like you said, you start realizing the power of real estate and what your options are, and that it isn't as traditional as you have to put 20% down and you buy off the MLS, and that's the only way you can buy real estate. No, that you have all these tons of different options out there that you can make work and that you can make so much money for and create a better life for yourself.
Exactly. What I love about real estate is I kind of find it the equalizer. I find it something that it kind of doesn't matter if like you come from a rich family or a poor family, like you can figure out how to do this. Mm-hmm. There are tons of different strategies. You just have to figure out which one's going to work the best for your goals and your starting point. But really anybody could be a part of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you've since bought 10 properties since that first one. You've moved pretty quickly. So in 2 years, 2 years, you bought 10 properties. Maybe talk a little bit how you did that, how you found those properties. What do they consist of? Are they duplexes, triplexes? Are they single family homes?
Sure. I should have used the word doors. I have 10 doors. Mm-hmm. So we had where we were living, we were able to purchase our apartment that we were living in from that. So we have an apartment that's just a single apartment down in the city. So that was nice and simple. Close that one up. Then, like I said, we house hacked a duplex. Then from there, the same realtor happened to be in the same neighborhood. And what ended up happening was when he came to do the appraisal for the first house that was our duplex, this little old nosy neighbor came over, this little old lady, and was like, hey, I don't know you in the neighborhood. I've lived here for 30 years. What are you doing here? Right? He had like the total New York accent. And my realtor explained that, he was helping with the appraisal. He was a realtor for that property. And she mentioned that she and her husband had wanted to sell their property right across the street. So after we had closed and kind of got settled in, my realtor and I had kept in touch, and he actually offered that to us as an off-market deal. So that's right across the street. That's a 4-family that comes also with the parking lot, which in New York is actually prime real estate, especially where I am. Then from there, we bought a property in the Dominican Republic, which was something for my husband that was really important to do, just since that's where he's from. So it is not a short-term rental. We actually bought in the capital. So we have renters there that live there all year round. And then we ended up now with this pandemic in the world that's going on, we weren't really sure what was going to kind of happen. And a property just fell into my lap. It was on the MLS. It's a 2-family upstate, but it was exactly what I was looking for. Something that is within an hour of my time. So not crazy to have to get to, especially since I don't really like driving as a New Yorker. Then we wanted something that there really didn't need to be much work that needed to be done, and that already came with tenants. So it's really a turnkey property that I'm gonna get paid literally on the closing date for. Beautiful. So excited for that.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your success. 10 doors isn't an easy task for anyone, especially in that short period of time. But as you know, once you set your mind to something and you put yourself in that space all the time, some people might say that those deals coming along your way were lucky, but I say the complete opposite. It's because you're there and you're thinking about it and you're applying yourself to that, things come your way, and it always seems to work out like that.
Well, I think what I try to do is I have my goal. I have my strategy, right? I am the buy and hold multifamily. That's my niche. But if someone comes to me with something and it's like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I'll listen to it and I'll hear them out. I had somebody that was really interested in doing a flip with me. And I was like, cool, let's go look at some properties. I had no problem if the numbers made sense doing a flip. That was not a problem for me. I'll wholesale something. I'll get involved in anything where I can make money, but you just have to kind of like have your goal and work towards it, but yet keep your ears open and always be telling people what you're looking for. If people don't know what you want, you're not going to find it. So you're right. You have to kind of keep putting it out there in the universe that like, I'm going to find this type of deal. Or I'm going to find this type of deal, and just keep your ears open and see what the universe rewards you with.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more people that know what you do and kind of an idea of what you're looking for, the more chances people are going to find. If you don't tell anyone, how are they supposed to know and how are they supposed to help you? Tell everyone and their grandmother that you're investing in real estate.
But the 2 properties that we have that are in the same neighborhood, now all of the other people on that street will have like come up to me and been like, hey, you're the girl that buys houses. My mom is probably going to want to sell her place in a little while. Do you want to buy it?
Yeah.
I mean, offering to do like seller financing for me. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's like have a chat. So I'm going to buy another one on the same street when the owner is ready to retire. She's getting a little bit older. She's not ready to give up the property now. So, but we already have an arrangement that when she's ready to, hand over the keys, they're coming right to me.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Now you guys own in Santa Domingo, right? You said that's in again. How does that process go? How is it? I know your husband's from the Dominican Republic, but I'm still curious as to how did you find the financing? How did you find the deal? How did everything go? Did it go smoothly? Was there challenges?
I do speak Spanish, but not Dominican Spanish, and clearly not as fluent as he does. So he had to kind of be the point person on that project compared to the other ones that we had done where I was the point person. It helped us that he was a citizen there because you can actually get financing. If you're not a citizen, you know, if you and I go down there, they're not going to just be like, sure, we'll give you a loan, you person from another country. They're not going to do that. We would have to pay in cash in full. So we were able, our strategy once again with buying homes is really to put down the least amount of money possible. I want to stay as liquid as I can for whatever opportunity comes up. Did I have the cash that I could have bought it outright? Yes. Did I want to spend that money all in that one place? No, I did not. So we made sure to do financing. Financing down there, just like a lot of other countries, it's going to be completely different than here. It's clearly a much cheaper property than at least what I'm buying in New York City, for sure. Yeah. But it's something that the mortgage is like 7 years. I was like, what a random number. Yeah. And they do a lot with like balloon rates. So we're like, okay, we got to pay this off at a much earlier time. What we did to find it, was we actually, my husband, like I said, he wanted to buy in neighborhoods. He did not want to buy the beach property. He wanted to really buy a place and kind of give back to where he was from. So he knew the different neighborhoods. So we found a place where they were actually doing new construction. So we actually bought the property before it was even built, which was interesting because Dominicans aren't really known for doing things on time. It's hot down there. I couldn't imagine being a construction worker in the Dominican Republic, but it was something that you had to be very flexible with the timeline. We ended up closing about a year later than we really had planned on because they weren't finished building it.
Wow. So for anyone here that's complaining that the construction workers move a little bit slow, try doing it in the Dominican Republic, right?
A whole year later. So once again, if we had committed and tied up all that money, we might not have been able to buy the next property here in America because it was tied up in some Dominican bank account for over a year. That wouldn't have been a good idea. So I was really happy we ended up going with the strategy of mortgaging it and putting down the least amount we could. It'll be something that will pay off faster just because, you know, there's a balloon rate and it's really not that much money in like the long run of things. But I was really happy we didn't do that because I don't know, I'm actually surprised we even ever closed. I thought we waited till like 2025 for it to finally be done. So.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's cool to own a property in another country. That's one of my dreams was. But then I realized, because I love vacationing, I think we were talking about this before, I love going on vacation and traveling like yourself. But I realized for me, I know it's a little different with your husband and it was his goals, but it makes more sense for me to invest here and use that money from that and get an Airbnb or something for the amount of times that we'd go. But it's cool to own in another country. I think it's, you know, it's pretty cool to say I own in the Dominican Republic.
Cool. And we're going to buy down there again. That's actually going to be our next purchase. And that's going to be my goal, which is that beach property. That's going to be the Airbnb that I get to block out like what weeks I want first.
Okay. And you have a customer right here. Oh, 100%.
You might have to come. And it's going to be, we're actually going to buy in Punta Cana, which I know you really love. So
amazing. Well, that's really cool. So a lot of people, they have, you know, there's contradicting views, right? Should I finance? Should I pay it off cash? How did you come to the conclusion or the decision of which way you should go? You know, you talk about, I'm in the similar thought, the mindset of put as little much down as possible, leverage, as long as it makes sense with the rents and, you know, you're not over leveraging. How did you come to that decision that might help some people decide that?
Sure. So to me, I think, you know, I run a women's group for real estate investors called Lady Landlords on Facebook. And one of the first things, I get that question all the time in that group. And one of the first things I always tell people is, well, what's your goal? You have to know what your end game is. What are you trying to get to? What is your long-term goal? Then kind of break that down. So to me, if your plan is to buy one property and it's going to be a rental property for an Airbnb, you know, that's going to be a very different strategy of what I would tell you to do monetarily than if you're like me that wants to buy enough to kind of replace an income so I can kind of quit my day job over there. And so to me, like, you kind of need that money to leverage. So you have to really think about what am I trying to get to and then kind of back that up with the other steps to kind of move forward. So For me, that's looking to have enough properties for cash flow to replace an income. The only way for me to really be able to do that in the next, 60 years is to press that down and leverage the most amount of cash that I can have on hand at a time, which means that I need to find a way to put down the least amount of a down payment. There is going to be a point where my strategy is going to flip. I'm probably, after my little beach rental over there, I'm probably going to be in a spot where I can actually flip, where I'm going to want to pay off my properties faster, because I just want to be able to live off the income coming in from them and just manage them that way. But I know my goal. I set that intention at the beginning, and then now I can make all of my decisions for my portfolio based on what I know my goal is. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to get lost.
Exactly. It's that roadmap to where you're going. And if you don't have that map,
Yeah.
You could be trying to go to New York, but you'll end up in Alaska, So it's like important to have that map, and every decision you make from there. Yes, as you mentioned, you can be open to other things, but you're following that route. And if you're following that route, it makes all the decisions so much easier, and you know what you're looking for. And I think it also depends as well on what your capital situation is, right? If you have $10 million, well, you can afford to buy $1 million properties with cash. But for people like you and me, I'm the same boat. I don't have a limitless amount. It's you want to leverage, and again, it's feeling comfortable with that leverage. I'm comfortable with only putting 20% down on an apartment complex because the cash flow is there, and I've done the market research to find what the rental comps are, what the market demographics are, and that everything aligns with what that property is doing.
Yeah. And that's the important part. You have to figure out like your goals. And one of the other things that I think is important to add in there too is also your risk tolerance. Mm-hmm. Some people cannot deal with the idea of, oh my God, I'm going to have a 30-year mortgage. I'm going to be in debt, X amount of money. And it makes them anxious. Well, then that plan's not for you. Then maybe saving up 40 grand and buying a place in the Midwest or wherever you can buy $40,000 houses. I don't really know. Wherever, maybe then that's your strategy to be able to pay in cash for those things. You have to be able to assess your risk tolerance and know, okay, I'm comfortable buying long distance, or no, I want something that's across the street from me that I can see it every day. And yes, I'm okay leveraging my credit. And actually, no, I don't want to take on debt. You have to know the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people get into this and are like, oh, I want to do real estate investing just like you. And I'm like, cool, what do you want to do with it? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but do you want to be a wholesaler? Do you want to buy tax liens? Do you want to buy land and do new construction? Do you want to be in syndications? Do you want to be the syndicator or the syndicate? I mean, there's even options within that. There's something for everybody, but you have to figure out what's going to work for you.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. It's something for everyone. You just have to figure it out and not get caught up. You have to pick something like we talked about, pick your goal and whatever you're going to stick to and try and stick to that. Okay, you can be open to other things, but I was so guilty early on, the shiny object syndrome, right? Oh my God, this sounds amazing. People are doing tax liens, as you remember. That sounds like the best deal ever. Oh, people are investing in assisted living facilities. Oh my God, that's just amazing. And then you don't focus on one thing. Yeah. And you don't end up getting anywhere. So I think that's brilliant advice to know that you have so many options, but figure out what works for you and kind of stick to that.
Plus, I feel like the thing that actually stops most people is fear. I feel like they are scared that they're going to make the wrong decision. And honestly, if you don't know what your goal is, there's a good chance you are. Because once again, that's where you're going to have shiny object syndrome. You're going to be like, oh, well, that person I saw on HGTV, they made money flipping houses. So let me just try that. And that'll be my strategy. And it's like, no, but you can't just go kind of chasing things here. You're going to get burnt. You're going to lose money. You're going to make wrong decisions. You have to know what you're trying to get to first, and then just stick to that. You can learn about all those other things. I do that. I watch YouTube videos about everything. But in the back of my mind, I still know I want my buy and holds. I like my multifamilies under 5. I like them in cities. I like buying in classy neighborhoods. That I think are going to gentrify. That's my sweet spot. But I'll still listen to your deal if you got something that I can make money off of.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to make money, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about your website, Lady Landlords. I'm really interested to hear about kind of that. As my wife's my wife's a real estate agent, and my mother, I told you when I was early on, always was interested in investing. So I'm interested to hear about what that website is about and what you do.
So it's a Facebook group called Lady Landlords. It's only for women, so sorry you can't join, but your mom and your wife.
Yeah, does that count?
You have to kind of get rid of the beard a little. But it really started because after we bought the first duplex, and I was so addicted to real estate. My husband was not. That was something he's like, okay, cool, I like the money, but he wasn't as interested in it. He wasn't listening to the podcasts and YouTube videos and trying to network with people that I was, which is fine. That was my passion. So I needed somebody else to talk to because he got a little tired of hearing about it. So I was like, well, screw it. Like, I'm going to go find other women out there, and I'll put together a group so that way I can ask my questions and have people give me answers. And the group I started only back in March, and the group took off. We have about 250 to now 300 members joining weekly,
wow.
Which is, and then women in the group have been looking for certain resources. They feel very comfortable there because it's really just a place where they just feel very supported. They don't feel judged. They can ask a beginner question and kind of not get, kind of talked down to, which they feel sometimes happens in other groups. So it's just kind of a good, safe, space where everybody gives each other hugs and things like that, right? So the group started asking for, well, it'd be really helpful to know the first 3 steps of what we should do. Hey, Becky, can you make a course telling us what the first 3 steps are? So I was like, well, yeah, I can make a course for you. So I made a beginner's course for a beginner's guide to real estate investing. So now I have that course. Then people were like, well, you did one for beginners, but I own 1 property, but I want to know how to grow. I don't know how to buy the second. So I said, okay. So I put together the intermediate's guide to real estate investing. Now we've grown to, we're actually going to do our first local meetup here in New York. But really, I want to get it to a place where in 5 years, we're all going to be going down to Orlando, and I got 10,000 lady landlords, and we're going to be having a national convention of all these kick-ass women that are just really kind of sharing their stories and what they got interested in and how they kind of grew, and just really have it as a great resource for women to realize that this is not just like the rich white man's game, that anybody can really kind of get out there and do this. So that's really what I'm kind of hoping to kind of grow. And it was not what I was planning on doing. I'm creating logos now, and we're putting final touches on our actual website. And I'm like, okay, this is a cool and unexpected thing. But like I said, if people want to pay me, then I'll do it. So well, it's just another business that really kind of grew out of my love of real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you're providing a service for many women that, like you said, I'm sure, unfortunately, it's unfortunately the case that it can be intimidating to say, I want to buy a house, but who do I talk to? Whether, and, it's not,
yeah.
I think, I don't know the statistic, but it seems like there are more male investors and more males that invest in real estate, rightly or wrongly. Unfortunately, that's the case. And I think it's good that they have somewhere they can go where they don't feel like they're going to be judged and talked down to.
And I think it's more than just even that there's more male real estate investors, but I also think it's, when you think about the other team players, right? If you're going to do a flip, you got to work with contractors. Those are usually going to be men. It's still traditionally, we're still, hopefully getting to kind of that tipping point, but traditionally your accountants, your real estate attorneys, those are going to be usually a little bit of older men. And that's something that, I think that women just don't always feel that they know all the right words to say. And then that's really kind of makes them not have the confidence to go out and do that. So my goal with the group is to give knowledge and confidence for women to go and actually do this and not have that fear or hold them back from reaching the goals that they really want to see in their life for their families.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. Maybe you can share, without giving away your course, maybe you can give away a few steps that, women can take to for hopefully have more women than men watching. That would be making me very happy.
That's not just for women. It'll say lady landlords on it, but men, it's the same steps, right? So it still is something that men can buy if they want. But really, like, we start the beginner's course just goes through setting your goals, and I give you like a worksheet and really like a plan of how to do that and really create that roadmap that we just talked about. So I feel like that's just the great starting point. And then I go through explaining what are your kind of different options in real estate investing. Do you want to be the wholesaler? Do you want to do buy and holds? Do you want to be a flipper? And I kind of go through just the pros and cons so you can kind of add that to your roadmap. Then we talk about how to find the best members for your team, how to make sure you're picking the right attorney, the right title company, the right accountant, the right realtor if you're going to use one, all of that type of stuff. I walk people through how to analyze their deals. So it's really, by the time you get through even just the beginner's course, like you are ready to buy a house. Like you are ready to buy your first property. You have all of the steps, the information to buy a profitable property.
Fantastic. And where can people find this course? On your website, Lady Landlords, or?
Yes, so it's lady-landlords.com.
Okay, I'll put a link into the
description
below so anyone can. Because I think that's that is important that people understand the steps, because it's like, okay, I found real estate investing. Let me go research it. Okay, you go on Bigger Pockets. Boom, boom, so much. It's great. So much information, but where do you go next? It's really can be really challenging.
And as much as you can read books and Bigger Pockets, and you can listen to podcasts, and even like our YouTube videos, which are incredibly helpful, it is up to you to take those said steps. So that's why I kind of take out all of the guesswork of like what you need to do. So that way you can kind of move forward with the knowledge and the confidence that you're making the right decision and that you're ready to take that action. We even have a little chapter in the course just about like literally mentally preparing for like, okay, we're going to go do this now. Like, let's get out of the, down the rabbit hole, or just the kind of, what's that called? Analysis paralysis. You're going to sit there and think about it for 1,000 years and you're never going to do it. That I feel like is one of the biggest issues with investors. They're so afraid and they have so much fear to kind of take that next step. Well, okay, let's figure out where that fear is coming from. Let's get you that information and let's go do this. Yeah. That's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks for putting that together. I'm sure you've helped a lot of people and will continue to do so.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I've connected with amazing people through it. So it's something that like I'm looking forward. It's already been with the 3-4 months that the group's been out there. It's been so great to see women that are like, I bought my first property. Okay, I just got an accepted offer on my second. Like, it's so cool to see the steps that people are taking and just really taking action that they weren't ready to do before. So that's so rewarding to me. I love it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate, right? You look like a wrestler, maybe. You look like you've been in a few fights, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. So we have some wrestling themed questions that I would like to ask all the guests. They all come back to real estate, but it's just a wrestling theme. So what would be your wrestling name? That's my first question.
So I thought long and hard about this. My wrestling name would be the Exterminator.
The Exterminator.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. Why the Exterminator? Any reason?
Yeah, of course. So when I thought about it, one of my best skills is problem solving. So I can always figure out a way to like make something work, and I'm very good at that. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty. So that's why I decided to do the Exterminator.
Okay, so the Exterminator. So the Exterminator's in the ring. What is the Exterminator's special move in wrestling? All wrestlers have a special move, like a power move or whatever that they're good at. What is yours in real estate?
Mine would be, I guess I wouldn't know necessarily the right word with wrestling, but mine would be, I would be the one to attack first.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason for that is just, I like taking action. I calculate and I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And then once I'm like, okay, this is the decision. I'm in the ring. I'm supposed to be fighting. Let's go fight. I'm the person that's ready to like step up and like take that action. So I would definitely be throwing the first punch.
I like that. It's good though. It's good to be taking action. It's better to take action and kind of figure it out later almost, ready, fire, aim, right? It's kind of like it's a good thing to go. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm good at problem solving. So my mom calls me like her cat with like the 9 lives, because like if there's a problem, like I'll get myself out of it. Like I will find a way, and you just kind of, we move on, and then we just, plan better and do it again the next time. That's all.
Yeah. Cool. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in investing?
Knock on wood, I don't think I have yet.
Okay.
I've won all my fights.
Okay.
Oh, I've been to court like a ton of times so far.
For
I've
evictions or
court like every quarter. I mean, like, like the people in court like know me by now. They're like, "Hey, Becky, you here for this case, for that case? Which one?" So I mean, I guess that, but I've won every single small claims court case that I've been a part of, so that works for me.
So don't mess with the exterminator, basically, is what you're getting at. Don't mess. I'm kind of scared now. Was there a point that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you got scared? What was it and why in real estate?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
No, I'm a risk taker. Like I said, I quit a six-figure salary to move to Europe. So I mean, that's not exactly to a different country where I didn't speak the language originally. Like, I'm not afraid to take those steps. I'm not afraid to fail. And I think that's actually something that's really helped me in real estate, is because maybe I jump a little too fast off the top rope, but I keep landing on my feet. So we'll do it again and hope that it works out the same way next time.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So I think the Exterminator is going to be the world heavyweight champion soon. So very cool. Thank you for answering those questions, and thank you for being the guest today. You've been fantastic. It's been really interesting to hear how you've scaled to 10 doors that quickly, even buying in the Dominican Republic, and as well, you know, your cool story about traveling into Europe, living in Europe for a while. That's really cool. That's something that hopefully, even though I'm originally from the UK, I'd like to live in mainland Europe for a bit. So it was cool to hear how you did that, and yeah, that you're lady landlord. So for anyone who's looking to get a hold of you, you know, we mentioned the website. I'll put a link to that. But any other way, social media platforms or anything like that you'd like to plug?
For anyone that's looking to join the group, head over to Facebook and just search Lady Landlords, and we will pop up there. Otherwise, our website has my contact form, which is lady-landlords.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at Becky Nova 24. And I got my YouTube channel. We'll have to have you come over there. Which is Live Free with Becky Nova, because I talk a lot more about financial tips there to make sure that people are ready to buy real estate.
Cool, very cool. Well, I'll definitely go and subscribe to that, because, you know, I love that stuff, and I'll be interested to hear what you say. So thank you once again for being on Wrestling with Real Estate, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem, my pleasure.
I hope you guys enjoyed the latest interview. Before you go, please don't forget to subscribe and like. And also, I would like to extend an offer to you guys. Anyone who's interested in real estate and who loves real estate as much as I am, maybe a beginner and trying to figure out how to get into it, or someone who's a lot more advanced, either or, I would love to have a conversation with you, talk more about real estate, and yeah, see what your goals are and see if there's any way we can help each other out. So I'm going to attach a link in the description below. Just please sign up for a call and we can get to know each other. And I'm not always in the Dominican Republic, by the way, but I thought this made for a pretty cool backdrop.